the completion of my top 100 cards in my collection. Is number 50 to number 1. Just as a side note, as I mentioned on the previous video, all of the values of these cards I'm pulling from vintagecardpricing.com. And just to kind of clarify things, I am definitely a collector before an investor. When the value goes up, great. If the value goes down, great. Honestly, from my perspective, if the values of cards start to go down a little bit this year based on the strong performance over the last couple of years, I'd be fine with that because it lets me pick up some cards that I've always wanted in probably a little bit better condition than I would have. But definitely collector first. All right, so let's get into the cards. Number 50 in my collection, 2001 Topps Chrome Albert Pujols, rookie. He's definitely finished out the career this season, definitely future Hall of Famer. Number 49, the 1984 Topps traded Dwight Gooden and a PSA 10. Used to watch him play when I was a kid. Great pitcher. Dominant, very, very dominant. Well, at least at the beginning of his career. 1992 Bowman, Mariano Rivera, and a Jim Menten, best closer of all time. Number 47 is this 1985 Topps, Nolan Ryan, and a Jim Menten. Number 46, 1949 Bowman, Roy Campanella, and a 2. I picked this up from a dealer at a show that I went to in Denver probably about a month ago. He had a lot of really good cards that were on my list. They were not in the conditions that I prefer to purchase them in. I prefer to pick this up in a little bit better condition, but it's a very clean 2. So I figured it was definitely worth the price to pick it up in a little bit lower condition, but very good eye appeal. I'm a big fan of buy the card, not the grade. I definitely don't do that all the time. I've made mistakes before where I bought a kind of crappy looking card that has a good grade on it, and I it's definitely overgraded and definitely regret that. But in this case, I thought it was a great looking 2. Number 45, 1983 Topps, Nolan Ryan and a Jim Menten. Number 44, it's a 1993 Stadium Club, Derek Jeter Murphy and a Jim Menten. Number 43 is a 1909 E97 Briggs Company, Willie Keeler and a 2. It's a really clean 2 for being as old as it is. I actually got this card as a gift from my father. He used to be a big collector back in the 90s and early 2000s, and he was a big Willie Keeler guy. So he had this. He sold most of his collection, but he gave me some stuff, and this was one of the things that he gave me. He actually had a really old Willie Keeler cabinet card that he didn't know much about, but he bought it at an auction, and then when he sold his collection, they found out that it was his true rookie, and it was basically it was the only one in existence. So kind of interesting. Next up, number 42 is a 1968 Topps Mickey Mantle. This card actually is my wife's card. She's a huge Mickey Mantle fan. They share her birthday, so I bought this for her for Christmas a couple of years ago. But she lets me store it with my other cards, so I figured I'd use this one as part of my top 50. Number 41, this is one of my vintage non-baseball, is a 1957 Topps Johnny Unitas rookie card and a 5. It's a nice looking card. Number 40 is a T206 Piedmont Cigarette Eddie Collins and a 3. Eddie Collins, one of the more underrated players of all time. This guy was a hell of a hitter. His cards actually are pretty inexpensive for the quality of player that he was. And I've seen some videos recently on YouTube about people talking about underrated cards based on the player. I think Eddie Collins is towards the top of that list. I think the guy at the top of the list is coming up pretty soon though in the collection. Next up, one of my non-baseball cards is my 1996 Flair Showcase, Kobe Bryant Row 2 and a 9.5 Gem Mint. 1993 Pinnacle, Derek Jeter and a Gem Mint 10. And this next player is the one who I think is probably the most underrated player in baseball history, at least when it comes to values of his cards, is the T206 Piedmont Tris Speaker in an authentic. I thought this card was super clean, both front and back, good centering, authentic. I'm sure that SGC claims that it was trimmed or something, but I mean, it looks pretty solid when I hold it up against some of the other cards in my collection that are T206s. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of trimming. They might have trimmed the top just a touch. But yeah, Tris Speaker rookie card. That came in at number 37. Number 36 is 1982 Topps, Nolan Ryan and Jim Manten. Number 35 is an interesting card. Not a typical size baseball card. It's more of a postcard. It's a 1921 Exhibits, Rogers Hornsby. This guy is one of the, if you don't know who he is, he's one of the greatest hitters of all time. 358 career batting average. He was a slugger. He had, I think, over 300 home runs. He could be considered one of the best hitters of all time. I definitely think he's up there with, you know, guys like Ted Williams, Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth. But yeah, this is 1921 Exhibits and a PSA 2. Next up, Mr. October, Reggie Jackson, 1969 Topps rookie in a near mint 7. Love this card. Love this card. 1953 Bowman Color Pee Wee Reese. I bought this card. This is probably one of the first cards that I picked up when I started collecting again. When I first got back into collecting, I basically went for the Nolan Ryan 68 all the way, his rookie card through his 1994 Topps. But while I was putting together my Ryan collection, I decided to pick this up because I'd always wanted this card. I think it's like it's a piece of art. The painting. It's one of the very first in-action cards ever created. I think this is an absolutely gorgeous card. SGC 5. Next up on the list, 1973 Topps Nolan Ryan in a near mint 8.5. It's number 33 in my collection. Number 32, actually that was number 32. Number 31, sorry, is the 1957 Topps Brooks Robinson. Just picked this up as one of my more recent pickups. I think I got this about a month ago. Again, kind of like that Campanella. I was kind of thinking of picking this up in a little bit higher grade, but this is a super clean 5 that I saw at a show, so I figured I'd just pick it up and check that one off the list. Number 30 is a T206 Hugh Jennings, both hands up, in a very good 4. I think this is a really cool looking card. Typically, the T206s don't have a lot of reaction. This shows a lot of really solid reaction from Hugh Jennings. Plus, if you're familiar with T206, they have lots of different backs on the cards based on the tobacco company that sponsored it. This one's an old mill, so it's a little bit more rare than the Piedmonts and the Sweet Caporals that you typically would see. Number 29. This is a more recent pickup as well. I got this at a show. I actually wasn't looking for this card, but one of the dealers at the show had it, and I thought it was a really cool card, even in the condition. But it's a 1932 Sanella Margarine Babe Ruth Type 2 in a 1.5. It's a oversized card. I think it's a great image of Babe Ruth. I think I just really like how it's kind of him in action, making the swing. Just a really cool card. Plus, it was interesting. I didn't realize Sanella Margarine apparently was a German company because the back of the card is in German, as you can see there. All right, number 28 is the 1972 Topps Nolan Ryan in an 8.5. Number 27 is one of my favorite players as a kid when I was growing up. Before I became a Nolan Ryan fan, when I first started watching baseball, when I was probably 6 years old, this guy was playing for the Yankees, and he's just, yeah, one of my all-time favorites. The 1984 Topps Don Mattingly in a PSA 10. This is a card I always wanted as a kid. I think I had one, and if it would have been graded back then, probably would have been a 3, but very happy to have that card in my collection. All right, number 26 is the 1977 Topps Nolan Ryan in a mint 9. And now we're in the top 25. So number 25 in my collection, the 1975 Topps Nolan Ryan in a PSA 8.5. So these cards, 75, if you're not familiar with this set, have the colored borders, and all these colored borders, both the 75s and the 71s with the black borders, they're very hard to find in good condition because the borders will chip and you can see the white much more easily along the edge. So they're a lot tougher to get in good condition. 1970 Topps Nolan Ryan in a near mint 8. Number 23 is one of my non-baseball cards. It's the 2003 Topps Chrome LeBron James rookie card in a mint 9. Love this card. I when I started getting back into collecting about 4 years ago, I was primarily focused on baseball, but I definitely wanted to pick up some of the greats in other sports. And LeBron James, it's just such a great card. I had the opportunity actually when I bought it in 2018 to get it in a 10. I thought it was slightly overpriced, so I didn't do it, and kind of regretted it because in 2021 it was probably worth, I mean, almost 100 grand at that point. Everything's come back down to earth on these, but yeah, love this card. Love having this in the collection. Number 22, best catcher of all time, Johnny Bench, rookie in a PSA 8. Number 21, 1974 Topps Nolan Ryan in a mint 9. Picked up this card in 2019 when I was building out the Ryan collection. There's some of these cards that I got in a 9 back then that I'm really glad I picked up, because the price of these things have gone up considerably. And I definitely, if I built my Nolan Ryan collection now, most of these cards from the 70s of his I'd probably have in like 7s versus 9. So happy I did that when I did. All right, the captain, 1993 Topps Gold, Derek Jeter, Gem Mint 10. Next up, best catcher on the Yankees, 48 Bowman Yogi Berra, and an excellent 6. Love that card. This card I got for my birthday this year from my parents. The 1951 Bowman Whitey Ford rookie in a 5. This card has been on my list for a while. It's a beautiful card. Glad that they picked that up for me. Appreciate that. Number 17, it's 1957 Topps Frank Robinson in a 7. It's a beautiful one as well. Picked that up. Had that card for quite a while, actually. I really like it. I had the Frank Robinson, and I wanted to get the Brooks Robinson, and picked up a bunch of other cards. So I'm glad I picked up the Brooks recently. So now I've got the 57 Robinsons. Number 16, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, possibly the greatest, if not the greatest. He's number 2 or 3, worst case. T206, Christy Mathewson with the dark cap, Sweet Caparel on a 4.5. Beautiful card, nice centering on it, well, at least nice centering on the front for being as old as it is. Number 15, top 15 in the collection. Number 15, it's a 1959 Topps Bob Gibson, near mint 7. Number 14, 1976 Topps Nolan Ryan in a mint 9. I love the 76 Topps set. I think it's just a really good looking card. Great looking, good centering. Next up, one of the tougher cards to get in good condition, 1971 Topps Nolan Ryan. This black border is a beast to try to get this thing in high condition. Very happy to pick this one up in an 8. All right, number 12. Bought this. This actually was a birthday present this last year to myself. I typically don't buy myself birthday presents, but I really wanted to pick up the card and needed an excuse, so decided to tell my wife that this was a gift to myself for my birthday. The T206 Cy Young Portrait, green, and the SGC3. It's a very clean SGC3. Like this card a lot. One of my favorite cards in the collection. Next up, number 11. Love this card. Loved this card when I was a kid. I've wanted this card basically since I was a kid. Always when I was collecting, I would see it at card shows, see it at card stores, and just never had the money as a kid to pick this up. Glad that I could have as part of my collection now. But the 55 Koufax in a 6. This next card, I picked this up as soon as I completed my Nolan Ryan collection. The very next card I bought was this one. I've always loved the look of this card. It's not his most valuable card, but it's, I think, possibly his best looking one. But the 1956 Topps Mickey Mantle and a PSA 6. This next card, actually, I bought it when I was putting together my Nolan Ryan collection, and I think I probably paid like a couple $100s for it. And this is probably one of the best performing percentage-wise cards in my collection from a price increase. His 1978 Topps in a mint 9. I picked this up, like I said, for a few $100, and now it's valued in the $4,000 or $5,000 range. So that was number 9. Oh, in top 10. All right, so that was number 9. Number 8, one of the most iconic cards in the sports card collecting hobby, the 86 Fleer Michael Jordan in a PSA 8. This card is my most recent pickup. Bought this at a show in Denver. I've always wanted this card. It wasn't necessarily on my list for this at this time, but I saw it at the show. The condition isn't fantastic. It's just one of those cards where I've always wanted it. So when I saw it for sale, I picked it up. I wasn't even concerned about overpaying for it. I just wanted this card in my collection. But the 1933 Goudey Babe Ruth number 53 yellow background. It's a 1, but I mean, I love this card regardless of the condition, and it's, for a 1, I've definitely seen much worse looking ones than this. Number 6, 1955 Topps Roberto Clemente rookie card in the 6. Love this card. This and the Koufax were two of the cards as a kid that I'd always wanted and just never really had the financial wherewithal to pick them up. Top 5 cards in my collection. Number 5, the 1969 Topps Nolan Ryan in a mint 9. I love this card. This is such a great looking card. I was so happy to get this in my collection. This was actually a gift as well, but love this card. This is, one of the key Nolan Ryan cards in the collection. Plus it's a 69, and that year has been, you could see it's slightly off center. It's really tough to get good centering for the 1969 Topps. All right, number 4 in my collection, 1954 Topps Hank Aaron in a 5.5. I know I keep saying this. I love this card. I love that card. Again, this one of my favorite cards as a kid growing up. Love this card. I was so happy to get this in my collection. I think this is one of the cornerstone cards in the collection. Top 3 cards in my collection. Number 3, 1933 Goudey Lou Gehrig in a very good 3. I think it's pretty good. I mean, it definitely has some soft corners, and there's a little bit of, I wouldn't call it staining, a fading of the white on the borders, but the card's 90 years old, so yeah, I'm cool with that. Number 2, 1951 Bowman Willie Mays in a 4.5, his rookie card. Definitely wish I had it a little bit better centered, but can't complain too much about having that 51 Bowman. And then the number 1 card in my collection. This card not only is the most valuable card in my collection, but this is the card that got me back into collecting. This is the card that when I was a kid, little kid, not kid with a job kid, but little kid, mowing lawns, raking leaves, doing whatever I could around the house for the neighbors, saving up money, go to the baseball card shop. I used to go to, I don't know if any of you guys are from northern Jersey, but I used to go to Bob's Collectibles up in Vernon. Always went in there going to buy this card, and every time I'd save up enough money for this card, I'd get there and the price would have gone up, and I never had this card. And then when I turned 40, my parents said, hey, look, now that you're 40, you've got all the responsibilities, you got kids and family and, just lots of responsibilities, got work, you're focused. You need to do something that you enjoyed doing when you were younger, and that'll help you feel young again. And they said, because of that, we bought you something that we know you've always wanted, but you never had. And they bought me this card for my birthday when I turned 40. It was a good call on their part from a financial perspective because the card's gone up probably 15x since they bought it. But my favorite card of all time, the card I always wanted when I was a kid, my 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan rookie card in an SGC mint 9. Love this card. I mean, this thing is basically perfect. This card is very hard to get centered. It's probably one of the best centered ones that I've ever seen, both front and back. Beautiful card. This is the pinnacle card in my collection. But yep, number 1 favorite card, 1968 Nolan Ryan rookie card. So thanks guys for watching both my number 100 to 51 and then now my top 50 in my collection. Look forward to posting more videos, talking about different topics. Please feel free to comment if there's any topic that you're interested in or you want me to cover in a future video. Please leave it in the comments. Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.